this is Sam of Sambookery, and today I'm doing a flip through of my Woodland Impressions Junk Journal. This nice chunky junk journal I just finished is made from my printable kits as well as the freebies from this collection. If you're interested, I'll link to my website where you can purchase the kits and download the freebies, and I'll link to the video playlist for the other videos in this series. Now let's just have a look at this finished journal. I love how chunky and fat it is and all the different things going on. So the cover has got a simple fabric ribbon closure, and then it's actually a single signature and it's super simple binding. I just tied it on with a string and then left the ends long to add some beads and charms here. And this allows me to remove pages if I want. But we'll start with the cover. I love to have an interactive cover. So on this one, I've added this tag pocket. It's got two different big tags here and a little journaling card. And then this flips open to reveal this owl here. And then we've got another pocket on the back of the tag for another journaling card. And then inside pocket, I've got this fun journaling card with a little bit of this fabric ribbon on it and just some tickets. And we'll just go through the pages. So I've added this one conifers and this pretty backing paper on this journaling card here. I added some of the fabric ribbon behind this label just to add some texture behind there. I've got this card. This paper is my own coffee dyed paper. I've got a pan that I use that's got like ridges in it, and so when I do the coffee dyeing on there and I bake it in the oven, the coffee kind of settles into these lines, so it makes a lined paper, which is really fun. This is a library card pocket freebie from this kit, and I wanted to add this in as like a flip out on one of these pages. So inside here we've got a couple of cards and then all of the library cards. So I haven't done anything else with these yet, but they're super fun and it's a nice way to store them in the journal. And then I can kind of move them throughout the journal as I work on it a little. And we've got a coin pocket here that flips up. Let's see what's in this one. I've got a little tag in this one. And here's a little owl peeking out. And this is just a vintage book page that I've coffee dyed. It's a little delicate, but I really liked the effect of the coffee dyeing. I bake all my papers, not all the time. Usually I'll bake my papers in the oven, and you get really interesting effects with the coffee as it settles. Here's a fussy cut from the kit. Got this tag here. And then I made a little side pocket with this owl here just to tuck some small ephemera in, this little tag and some tickets. If you focus on only putting pockets on the bottoms of your pages, it can kind of skew your journal and make it really fat on the bottom but really skinny at the top, and it kind of puts stress on the binding. So I try to remember to add things to the top of my pages as well. So this is one fun way to add an element to the top of a page, and you could leave the bottom blank for journaling and just have this at the top. It's a nice blank page. Here is a coffee dyed coffee filter that I added a tab to. It's another big pocket, and I just added this tag with one of the fussy cuts and a little bit of that cotton ribbon. And here's another of those side pockets. This one's the rabbit, and it's got this cute little mushroom tag. And then here's another of these coin envelopes. Let's see what's in this one. This really pretty flower journaling card. I really like this ledger paper with the mushrooms on it. It looks really fun. We've got another of my coffee dyed papers, and I use this circle punched out elements as like a tab for the page. We've got a big pocket here with this fun cone flower and a little bit of the cotton ribbon. There's another big pocket, and this one I just punched a hole in one of the square cards and the tag together and just looped them together with this ribbon just to have something a little more interactive here. And then this journaling card I added a tab to, and I made it a flip. I'll save the strips on the leftover bits after cutting out the ephemera, and a lot of times I'll use them as hinges to add flips and folds to my journal. So that's what that one is, another fussy cut. All right, and now we're in the center of the signature, and you can see it's just one long string tied in here, and if I wanted to take out the pages, I could. I don't, because I'm not really going to change anything on here, but you know, if you're working in a journal and you're worried about messing something up, or you have a glue accident or something spills, this type of binding, you just slide the page out. You can slip in new pages if you want to, so it's very very practical. All right, here's my center of the signature, and I've added just the fawn and the buck here on this dark woodland scene, like at night, and I added a few journaling cards to these pockets. I like using the circles at the top of tags or journaling cards too, as kind of a pull. And this one I layered with the cotton fabric, just for a little extra texture. And then tucked in the center is where I have put my folio. I love making folios. A lot of times I use them as standalone projects, but if they're coordinating with the journal, I like to tuck them. If there's more than one signature, I tuck them in between the signatures because there's usually a little bit of a gap. But if I just have one signature, I tuck it in the center. And we'll have a look at this. Let's see if I remember how I put it together. There we go. So on the yarn, I've just used a bulb pin to hook on a little tag, a little mini circle punch, and this little charm. And then it opens up. And inside here, we've got a pocket with this journaling card. And I added, I think you guys can tell, I've added these little like faux flat back pearls onto the mushroom top just to give it some dimension and sparkle. Got this tag, and I just tied on this little square ephemera. It's just like an extra element on here. And here's a bookmark. These are handy to have. I'm always needing bookmarks. I've always got several books I'm reading at a time or referencing. And then in the center, I've got a little mini journal with some writing pages. And then in the center of that, we've got a little mini folio here. It's got this cute tag and a little bitty pocket with a tiny ticket in it. And then from sewing in that signature, that's where I left the strings long and added the beads. And I'm just using a little Velcro dot to keep that closed. And just added a few tabs to this. I really like this ledger paper, it's fun. And we've got another pocket with another card. That's the folio, and I did hand stitch in that mini journal, so there was, you can see the stitching on the side, but I liked adding this ribbon. I just get these spools of 100% cotton, kind of very loosely woven ribbon on Amazon. They're in my Amazon storefront, and I like adding them to the spine. It kind of reinforces the spine. It also just looks really cute. So let's wrap this back up. And I will put it back. Let's see. There we go. Right back in the center of the journal. Here I've got like a larger sized envelope that I've added in here. I've glued it down and did some washi tape because I decided to stick in the mini journal into this envelope, and that kind of made it a little thick because I make my journals a little chunky, so I wanted to make sure that was secured in here. But I love that this flips out and then there's a surprise mini journal inside it. So here's my little mini journal. I've got a teeny tiny little tag on the front. We've got pockets with tags. This looks like it'd be a flip, but it's not. It's like a faux flip. I glued these completely down. But I could have added, you know, a strip here and made a flip for it, but I thought that just looked cute as a collage element. And then I left this pocket open here when I made this mini journal so that I could tuck in these cute little postcards with little tabs on them, because they were a little big to fit in any of the pockets, but I wanted to include them. I didn't do a tutorial video on this kit. I have tons on my different mini journal kits, but I did do a short on this. if you guys want to see that. Here is another pocket with some lace on top of this tag. And these little mini journals are so quick and easy to make. It's just from one sheet of paper and then adding the ephemera. Here's a little card in this pocket. And I've tucked in a couple of journaling cards here. Got a raven and a fox. Here's a little mini envelope. I added this owl fussy cut. And behind that, we've got a pocket with a couple of tickets. And inside the envelope is a little cardinal journaling card, super tiny. And then this one, you can see you don't see the flap. The pointed flap of this envelope, I glued inside this page and this page before I glued them together. I'll definitely have to do a tutorial like this next month. But yeah, so when you're gluing these pages together, they're open right here. And so before you put the glue, just slip in the envelope and glue it down and then glue the pages together, and that way it's hidden inside. But yeah, that's super fun. Another thing you can do too is leave it sticking out a little bit farther, and you can have it as like a wraparound cover as well. I might do that next month actually. I try not to put the journals together the same way each time, even though it's the same kit and it's the same basic shapes. There's so many ways you can put together a junk journal, so I always just want to be creative and do something new and different. All right, so that guy tucks right in there. We've got a pocket here, the card, and I just added one of the tickets as like a pull tab on the top of the tag. We've got another side pocket here. Super fun little ephemera. And I like leaving the yarn long on these side ones so that it comes out the top, just so there's like more interest at the top of the journal. Here's a giant fussy cut. I was a little daunted to cut out these leaf shapes, but honestly it wasn't hard at all. And it was kind of fun to have like such a detailed fussy cut when you're done. And it wasn't that much, just be a little careful on the stem, but I think it's super cute, adds a lot. You could also collage in like real pressed leaves if you're using this as like a nature journal. Here's another mini envelope flip up. I use this to store like the extra bits I didn't use in the journal yet. I've got some extra labels and an extra ticket here. So that's what I like to use these little mini envelopes for, like holding the ephemera that you want to use in the journal so it's all together. We've got a big pocket here. I've got some tickets, journaling card, another one that I've added the tab to. And we'll tuck those back in. And then in this pocket, I have tucked in one, a darling little raccoon card, but two, this little mini envelope journal. I forgot what I called this. This is a freebie from the Woodland Impressions kit. And we just made this with 2 envelopes. Oh yeah, we made these little like faux like specimen slides or something. Let me see if you guys can see. Can you see through these? So we made these with packing tape and stamps. And then I just made washi frames for them. Super fun. They look good from both sides. And we just made this little envelope holder to store them in. Super, super cute, super fun. So that's a fun little interactive thing to have in your journal. And this is pretty thin, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. And I just wrapped it with some bookbinding, like waxed thread, and put this little charm on the bottom. And I just tucked him into there. And here's the other coffee filter end. I used the circles as a pull on this side. We've got another pocket. Here is a butterfly card. I think this is the cover. Yes, very similar to the cover image. I kind of covered up mine with my interactive cover. And then here's a pocket, and I just kind of added this ticket on as a collage element because I moved this pocket up higher, so I put in these short journaling or tags. And that way their tops kind of hang out the top of the journal. This one I used the square kind of journaling card as a pull for this larger one. And this is that other half of that vintage book page. Here I used a journaling card and kind of overlapped it with one of my coffee dyed like mini notebook pages and let it overhang the edge. Because this page is much shorter than my journal width, I can do that. And then I added a tab as well because it still hadn't reached all the way to the edge. I think that's a fun layered element, and it makes it a little easier to turn these pages because they can be kind of delicate. This pocket, we've got this little fox in there. And we've got a pocket here with all kinds of stuff, a ticket, this butterfly card, and this little squirrel card. And let's see, I made like a little collage pocket with this ticket and this label, and I just kind of glued them along the bottom and side so I can tuck things in here. So I just tucked in some small pieces of ephemera that I had left. And then here's our last page, and in the back of the journal I tucked in the sketchbook. It's pretty flat. My sketchbooks aren't too fat, but I didn't have any pockets left. I forgot to save room in a pocket to put this in, so I just tucked him in the back, and he stays pretty well since the journal's wrapped up pretty tightly with this. We can look at this cute little sketchbook. Oh, this is the one that's accordion fold, so we can kind of turn. These pages here are blank for adding sketches, and then this way we've got the already drawn sketches that we can color in. And there's my extra page for doing testing, like testing colors and media to make sure it won't bleed through. And let me tell you, and I will probably try to remember to do this in the next tutorial, someone had a great idea. When you're making this, leave the top edge of your pages open when you're gluing them together and slip a piece of cardstock in there. So if you're doing some media like alcohol markers or something that might bleed through the page, it will hit that cardstock and not bleed through to the other side. I thought that was a brilliant idea. And I pinned that comment to the top of this video, so you'll be able to access it. In this back pocket, I've got a few more tags here and ephemera. And that is the journal. Now the cover is just 2 layers of cardstock. There's the cardstock, if you haven't made one of my kits before. It's just one sheet for the lining, one sheet for the cover, and we fold over the edges and glue them down just so we have a nice like smooth finished edge. And it's pretty sturdy. I kind of prefer this rather than like a super hard cover to a journal, because it easily kind of bends around all the things I stuff into it. But yeah, that's it. That's my Woodland Impressions journal. I had a ton of fun making this. I like that I can fit all the smaller elements in the journal and keep everything together in one place, but that I can take them out while I'm working on it. And I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching this video flip through of my journal, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.